At our stock talk this past Friday, Bob from upstate New York pointed out that I had sold half of my holdings in SoundHound, and in the chart where I show my projected portfolio for January the 1st of 2028, I was indicating that I was going to sell the rest of it. And he questioned me about it, and had I determined that SoundHound wasn't going to come through with what they had. Now, I had bought SoundHound originally in March of 2024, and I had made over 100% profit on it, so that's why I sold half of it. And my intention was, yes, there was no reason to take the risk that I thought SoundHound might be presenting, because they're yet to be show a profit, and the potential wasn't there. And I later got later that day got an email from Ray Raymond, another one of my longtime tribe members, and he had done 9 pages of research on SoundHound, and he shared it with me. And he pointed out that they have a very strong relationship with Nvidia, and it's rumored that it may even be his software or SoundHound software may be a part of the Blackwell chip as it's shipped, or an option on the Blackwell chip. Either way, that Nvidia is very much in bed with SoundHound. So with that in mind, and Ray's work was extremely well, and really that's the value of this tribe. It's not just me. It's roughly 1,000 people who are working together to make good investment decisions. So what I did was then supplement Ray's work and go out and find some more articles on SoundHound, and then I took them and put them into my podcast generator and created about a 15-minute podcast that gives a deep dive into what SoundHound is doing, what they're trying to do, what their financial situation is, and substantiate, is this something that is overvalued at this time? I had made the comment that I thought had become something of a meme stock because of the stocks I was holding, Amazon, Google, Nvidia, Tesla. It was often in the top 5 of the volume of stocks, and yet it's a non-profit stock. So I consider it something that the retail trade has got behind, and it is overvalued. But nonetheless, is it a stock that I want to hold through the beginning of 2028 because of all the work they're doing with the automakers, with the restaurants, and anything else that is going to use voice as a part of AI. In other words, rather than me sitting and typing and asking questions, I'm actually carrying on an interchange with an agent that we're searching to solve some problem or gain some information, and I would rather do it voice to voice rather than typing back and forth. And is SoundHound so far in advance? And as Ray's analysis point out, they have a bunch of patents that will build a moat around them so that the big hyperscalers can't just come in and duplicate what they're doing without infringing on their patents, and in reality then creating another potential revenue source for SoundHound. So with that in mind, I've got a bit of a cold. I don't want to go into deep detail on this. So what I'm going to do is, I did the podcast. I'm going to put a link to the podcast so that in the description, so that you can click on it and you can have access to it. This is something I do on my 3-year projection on all 60 stocks that I do. A similar podcast, and I update it every time I find some important news relative to it, such as earnings calls. And then I'm also going to give you a link in the description to a briefing, and that is a 3-page document that goes into detail of everything that is spoken of in the podcast. This is how I believe you should buy stocks, that you should have access to all the data that's available on a stock, gather it, put it in a comfortable format, whether it be verbal or written, so that you know what that company does and how good they are at it, and you have multiple resources to give you some sound information. So go into the description, find the link to the podcast, and then find the link to the briefing. It's a PDF. You'll be able to print it off of your computer. And this is what I do. This is what Best of Us Investors is all about. I want you to have an exposure to it relative to SoundHound so you can make a good investment decision. And if this looks like something that you'd like to be a part of, you can join our tribe. You can join our gold platform at $14.99 a month and have access to the work that myself and people like Ray, our tribe, put together so that we collectively can improve our positions in life. Talk to you later. Hope I get rid of this cold soon.